Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Jake the Genealogist, and in today's video I wanted to share with you something a little bit new. Now, obviously, in the last couple of weeks a lot of things have been going on, including the brand new 2020 presidential election between the incumbent Donald Trump and the challenger Joe Biden. And from what we can tell at this point, Joe Biden is going to defeat Donald Trump in a little bit of a blowout. Right now, it's projected to be about 306 electoral votes in favor of Biden and 232 in favor of Trump. But that could always change. Who knows? But at this point, we think the winner's going to be Biden. But uh, obviously, we're still using in the USA the very controversial system of the Electoral College, and there's a lot of complaints about the Electoral College. One of them is that it doesn't reflect the popular vote. Case in point, last election where Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote, yet she didn't actually win the presidency. Donald Trump ended up winning. He got more electoral votes despite not winning the popular vote. And it's happened before that as well, I believe, in 2000 and a couple other elections. So that's one of the main problems. And the other main problem is that the electoral votes are not proportional to population. Because if you go ahead and look at some of these states and the number of electoral votes they get per population, if you basically divide the population by the electoral votes that they get by state, you'll see that it's not very even. There's some like California, which have like 700,000 people per electoral vote, and then there's a tiny state like right down here, Wyoming, which has maybe like 450,000 people per electoral vote, and that's a pretty striking change. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a little bit of a spreadsheet, because I'm a big fan of those, and use it to come up with a better system for the Electoral College that would at least fix this proportionality. And keep in mind that this is all speculation. It would be a very big thing to actually have this implemented into the Electoral College, and who knows, it might be even better to just straight up abolish it and just use the popular vote instead of using the Electoral College, but that's a whole different story. So let's get into it. So, first I'm going to talk about how I do it, and then I wanted to actually resimulate the 2020 presidential election right here to see what change it would make, and also resimulate the 2016 to see if it would make a difference, because that could be interesting. See if it actually changes very much. So, what I have here is I have all 50 of the states right here. Now I think of it, I don't actually have DC included in here, but whatever. That's really not going to make much of a difference unless it's a really close selection. I suppose I'll add it in later. And then right here I have their pretty recent current population. Like I just found this. It's a couple months old, but it's still pretty accurate. And so I got the population for each of the states. And then right here I have the before, which represents all of the electoral votes that they got before I actually changed it up. So California was at the top with 55, followed close by Texas, Florida, New York, and Pennsylvania. But next what I did, because like I said, these are not proportional to the population, is I actually took the smallest population state, once again, fledgling little Wyoming down here, and I divided all these populations by that figure and rounded. And so what I did here is I took the population right there, I divided it by 578,759, that's the population of Wyoming, and I rounded it, and these are the new electoral votes for all the states. And right here in this column, I have the change, the percentage change. So California actually went up in electoral votes from 55 to 68, so they get a 0.236% change. And then some states didn't gain anything, like Oklahoma, Oregon, Kentucky, and Louisiana, and some actually lost, some very significantly, like Vermont went from 4 electoral votes all the way down to just 1, because I'm actually not adding in that kind of dumb rule of just adding in 2 senators. I think it's kind of pointless. Simplify it even more. Now, what you can do in this column is you can enter in the winner of all of these states. So you can enter in whatever custom candidates you want, any name. You'll have to change some other things. And then, yeah, so if you sum up all the electoral votes now, with these new changes, it ends up being 564 as opposed to the 538 from before. And now, instead of a road to 270, it's actually a road to 283. And so whoever gets 283 electoral votes first ends up winning the candidacy. And right here, I have different tally points for the Democrat and Republican candidates. Now, the way this winner thing works is you can enter in the winner of each of these states, and then right over here, hidden out of view, I have these little things right here. And what you can do is you can actually go into these things and edit it to be whatever candidate you want. So, for example, right here, for the purposes of this, I'm going to make it so it's Biden right here in the Democrat slot, and right here it will be Trump. So right there. And now we can just drag them down all the way to the bottom, and they're all computed into there. So now it's actually looking for Biden or Trump entered in right here. I don't think it's I think it's case sensitive, and so they actually have to enter it in that way. So what I thought I'd do is I'd resimulate this with the proportional electoral votes for each state. So we're going to pull up a little map right here. So we got the map right here, and we're going to see which states each candidate won. I'm recording it now because I believe at this point all states have been called. It shows Georgia in gray right here, but it's already been called for Biden, so we'll put that into the system. Okay, so let's start with California. Now, California was won by Biden, and as you can see, as soon as we input that, it gives us 68 for the Democrats, because obviously California is worth that many electoral votes. In terms of Texas, Donald Trump ended up winning that one, so we're going to chalk up a 50 for him. For Florida, once again, it's Trump with the win there. Brings it up to 87. Now we're going on to New York. New York is another one that Biden won. And right now, it's actually relatively close. Pennsylvania, Biden won. Very close battleground state. That was really down to the wire. One of the last states to be called. Illinois, once again, Biden. And now he's starting to build up a bit of a sizable lead. But Trump, he won Ohio. Biden won Georgia, which is actually pretty special. It's the first time a candidate's done that since 1996. That was when Clinton was running for re-election. North Carolina, another one that was just called recently, and that went for Trump. Michigan went for Biden. New Jersey went for Biden, and we can continue it down. I don't have to talk for each one. So we continue this all the way down, and at the end we'll have the full count for how close of an election it might be and how much it changes. Now, the issue here, and the reason I can't do it for all elections is I can do these for recent year ones, but obviously the electoral map has changed because I obviously try to adjust it by population, because populations grow and shrink in certain states, and also new states have been admitted. So, for example, 75 years ago, or like let's say 1944 election, wouldn't have actually had Alaska and Hawaii on there because they weren't admitted into the Union, or the United States, whatever you want to call it. And so they weren't admitted yet. They were both admitted in 1959, and so they actually had less total electoral votes on the map. And they can always grow in the future. Who knows? Puerto Rico might become a state very soon. They voted on a referendum for that. So that could be very interesting. We can get a 51st state. Not counting you, Washington, D.C. Alright, Maryland, Biden won. Wisconsin, Biden won. Colorado, Biden won. Minnesota, Biden won. South Carolina, Trump won. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Alright, Alabama, Trump won. Louisiana, Trump won. Kentucky, Trump won. Oregon, Biden won. And I'm actually thinking about making a simulator for this, so a custom Electoral College map, because you see tons of these electoral maps on the internet. You got the AP News one, you got the 270 to win, you got ABC News, all these different news websites have their own electoral maps, but what they don't really have is that much customizability, because you can actually pick the runners of each state on some of these websites, but you can't actually customize, for example, whoops, Utah actually went to Trump, you can't actually customize how many electoral votes per state there are, and I might want to add some kind of customizability if I ever made this. And I could feasibly make this because I am a big coder, and I do a decent amount of coding, so I can just whip up a small little website, and that could be fun to try to do. And yeah, I might do that sometime soon. I'll let you know on that. Also, if you want a link to the spreadsheet, it will be right in the description. You can, anyone can view it. That's what I set it as. So you can just open this Google Sheets document, and voila, you got good access to this. For now, I actually have it set where you can't actually go and do and edit any of these things. You can only just look at how everything works, but eventually, if I build trust that people aren't going to actually vandalize this and everything, then I may actually set this so anyone can edit it, and, well, I guess you could make a copy of it, I suppose, and try it yourself. Yeah, I guess that's what I'll suggest. Alright, so we're just getting to the last couple of states. Vermont went to Biden, and finally Wyoming went to Trump. So, here we go. So, that's all finished. And now we're ready for the final reveal of the total vote count change. Now, keep in mind, it's going to probably be more for both candidates than usual. And look at that. So, the Democrats, once again, Joe Biden ended up winning pretty handedly, 322 to 242 for Trump. Some interesting changes there. It's kind of interesting to compare because if we look at this, he's got 306 and Trump's got 232 in the actual election, but in this one, in this little simulator, Biden got 16 more. He still ended up outgaining in terms of new votes Trump, and Trump only got 10 more electoral votes. And so yeah, so you can customize this in whatever way you want, which I think is pretty cool. For example, if you really wanted to, you could actually go ahead and make it so don't do this on this actual spreadsheet, just make a copy of it, but you can go ahead and edit these and actually make this whatever you want, and it will still work. So for example, just as a little mock-up, I'll just copy this so don't end up having to type that in again, but for example, you can say California is only worth 1 electoral vote, and bam, it actually changes like that, and Biden loses all of those votes. And as you can see, a very big change right there, all the way, pretty much losing all of its votes, but we'll just go and undo that. So you can customize this in whatever way you want. And yeah, so then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to resimulate the 2016 election, because that was obviously a bit of a more controversial one, definitely. So as you can see in this case, Donald Trump ended up winning 304 to 227. But Hillary ended up winning the popular vote, as you can see right here. But she didn't end up winning. So we'll see if this changes anything. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and change this. We're going to make this Clinton, and we can keep the other one Trump. So that's obviously hasn't changed. So I hope you guys are all doing safe during the pandemic right now. It's unfortunately actually getting worse in a lot of places, including the U.S. where I am. And that's not a good thing at all. And hopefully, with the vaccine coming, apparently, to most households in the U.S., hopefully we're going to be able to solve this problem pretty quickly and get back to normal life. Because I think the amazing thing is, I created this channel all the way back in February. So this channel's been up for 9 months, I believe, and I'm pretty sure for the majority of the time, the pandemic has been underway and we've been under lockdown, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, and I mean, even when I created my channel, everyone already knew about the pandemic, of course. It just hadn't affected a lot of places except for China. Alright, so let's go right here. So we're going to enter in the winners here. So I'm going to go through this much faster. Okay, so Trump won Florida, right? Yeah. Clinton won New York. Trump actually won Pennsylvania in this one. Clinton won Illinois. Did you win Ohio? No. Trump did. Trump won Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan. Clinton won New Jersey, Virginia, Washington. Trump won Arizona. Clinton won Massachusetts. Trump won Tennessee. Trump won Indiana. Trump won Missouri. Clinton won Maryland. Trump won Wisconsin. And in terms of Colorado, Clinton won it, yes. Clinton won Minnesota too. And yeah, so just continue this process, and yeah, it's a little bit of a dull process, but if you have a reasonably good memory of which states went to which candidate, you can actually do this relatively fast. I might find a way where you can actually import the results of an election, and it will just resimulate it automatically, which would be really cool. Okay, so Utah, no, that was a Trump state. Okay, Iowa went to Trump. Nevada went to Clinton, yes. Arkansas went to Trump. Mississippi went to Trump. Kansas went to Trump. New Mexico went to Clinton. Nebraska went to Trump. West Virginia obviously went to Trump, one of the biggest red states. Idaho went to Trump. Hawaii went to Clinton. New Hampshire went to Clinton. Maine went to Clinton. No, there's one stupid district in there. I'm not going to count this in this election, because it's probably really not going to make much of a difference, I'm guessing. And again, I'm just speculating. Could be a really close one. Okay. We're just going to finish this up. And we got Alaska right here. Vermont. And bam. Okay, so let's see who ended up winning. Okay, this actually ended up being the exact same, except flipped. So, in this case, Trump ended up winning 322 electoral votes, the exact same as Biden would have won with this revised Electoral College, which is kind of interesting, and Clinton only won 242. And I'm not counting a bunch of these stupid, faithless electors who decide to vote for Bernie Sanders or Kasich or Spotted Eagle or Colin Powell. Not counting those. Those really wouldn't make much of a difference. But I guess once again, Trump would have ended up winning this election. Who knows? It could have changed in 2000. But that's all I got time for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. And sorry it's taken me so long to come out with this one. But I mean, I've been following a lot of the election. I wanted to do election-themed video. And hopefully some more family trees are on the way. Catch you guys all later, and I'll see you later, I guess. Goodbye.